Right. In our case, where they signed the paper of they signed the paper of a disclaimer before they ever signed the paper of the sale, so everything's fine. Gufa, let's get back to the point that we said though. We said if witnesses sign a paper of loan and then they say, oh, you know what, the loan wasn't given, but he just was trusting him to use the paper later. Or in the money. Or we said if they said after that they signed a deed of sale, they said, oh, that we had received the disclaimer before. We don't believe them. The family. If they say what, that it was a loan without the loan being given, that they're not believe. But it wasn't wrong for them to what? It was okay. They can say what, that we'd received a disclaimer before, then they are believed. My time was reaches any time because the truth is, it's okay. You're allowed to write a paper of Modar, of a disclaimer. In other words, what do you mean in order to save the guy? Okay, that's not called go back and testifying a second time, because they're not saying that the paper was signed illegally. It wasn't signed illegally. It wasn't a lie, or et cetera, et cetera. And therefore, and he's not worried. He's not worried that you cannot overdo it. But the other way, when it comes to to a shtaramana, that you're not allowed to write such a paper. No one's allowed to do it because the pasuk says, "Al tishkem ba'alecha avli." You can't have a perversion of justice in your house. A paper that testifies to a loan where no loan was given, you're not allowed to make such a paper. Now we're back to our Mishnah. We'll get back to the ranch. We said, for example, let's say a woman had nichse malu. Nichse malu means that the woman owns the property. She brings it into the marriage, and she owns it all the time till she's divorced, until the husband dies. But the husband has a right to the use of property. The property actually goes up and down. Knows the price, if it goes up or down, is in her domain. It's her property, but the husband has the rights to the use of property. So we said what? So the husband shows that he's been taking all of the produce for, let's say, 3 years, whatever it is. He doesn't gain the status quo of possession. Obviously. What do you mean? There's nothing strange. Remember, we said the whole point of demonstrating status quo of possession is saying what? That somebody who wouldn't have been here for 3 years had they not bought it was here. But what do you mean? He's a person who, by definition, since the deal with his wife is that he's allowed to get the use of right, of course he would have been there. Who on earth would ever have thought that establishes the status quo of possession? It's just keeping the Isla the peer who do. It's obvious what since he has a right to the use of right, he's eating it. There's no reason in the world to believe that he was demonstrating a possession. Here's the case. The cost of law. Here's why, because he said, you know what, I have no rights to anything in your possession. So since he wrote a paper that said what? He said I have no rights. And now you think what? He's like any stranger. And the fact that he's there for, let's say, for 3 years, garnering the usufruct, that's good. The answer is no. Even if he gave up all of his rights, it's still normal. Women are just agreeable to the husbands. That's a normal thing. Women will let the husband on anyway. And therefore what? Therefore, it doesn't prove that he doesn't establish a status quo, because it's likely that a woman would have let him on with permission without protesting. So what? I mean, who said writing that? Didn't we learn that doesn't work? Maybe we learned it earlier, a few pages ago. A person says, listen, I have no interest in this property, until he says to the other person, I'm giving it to you. The guy says his partner. He says, but if he doesn't, then it doesn't make a difference. Well, Tanya didn't we learn? If a person says to his partner, his friend, his partner, I have no rights and no interest in this field that we share. I have no interest in it. My hands are removed from it. Okay, Lomar Klum, we said it's nothing until he says I'm giving it to you. It's nothing. He says no. Our mission is where he wrote her. He said, here's when he wrote it. He doesn't have to be writing necessarily. But what did he wrote it for? It's when she's still what in the first stage of marriage. From the Torah, when a man does kedushin, even though the marriage is not completed, the truth is from the Torah he's allowed. The truth is, kedushin is erusin. Kedushin is erusin. So when a man does kedushin, when the king does kedushin, which is erusin, so he is married, and the truth is from the Torah he's even allowed to live with his wife, but the rabbi said no. The rabbi said not to do it. But she's forbidden to everybody else. but the only difference is that the punishment for living with that girl is different when she's a kudeshes or an arusa. It's different than when she's an asua. That's
Is any legal consequence now? A woman gets a ring a few months in advance. She
it could be. It depends.
Today, nowadays.
It depends. It depends. It depends on what happened. Yeah, you hear in America, it was always famous. And all you go up at summer camps. Every summer camp had the problem. Every couple of years, somebody marries a girl at summer camp.
Right.
Yeah, they make a joke. It's always
that's not what he's asking. He's asking, are there people who do separate Erusin and Nisuin?
Oh, so
that's a no.
The only group that I think might have something like that, actually, to tell you the truth, I have to talk about it because there's certain groups in this program actually do some secret ceremonies beforehand. No.
But just getting the diamond ring, the woman gets the diamond ring a few months.
So the truth is,
is there any legal significance?
So the truth is, we're very careful to make sure that it's not done in a way that makes it a condition. That's the whole point. Right. We're very careful. That's why in the religious circles they don't do it. They don't give out. They don't give those rings.
Right.
They do now. And it has to be exactly one carat. You can't make it bigger. You can't make it smaller.
But the group is Friday. I have to talk to you about it.
Does the diamond disqualify that ring from?
For the ring by kedushin, our problem is like this: we don't let people use rings that have anything that could fake the girl out. So because in other words, the girl can get married for a very small amount of money, but if she thinks she's getting a lot when she's not, then the marriage is not. Then the marriage is a mistake, and she's fooled. So therefore we choose rings that won't fake the girl out. That's why we don't want a ring. With the because she'll think it's worth a lot of money. She'll think it's a diamond, it's a zircon. She'll think it's a big one or this or a non-flawed one. Even the same size diamond can have vast differences in terms of depending on the clarity and the quality, etc.
That's why you use a plain gold ring. Or silver.
When I first came to America to raise money for yeshiva, so I didn't know anybody, and so I was grateful. So there was one guy, he really was a nice person. He wanted to help me. He actually was a student of another famous guy, and he was always raising all the money for that person all the time. But he had Rahmanas on me. So he took me to the Diamond Dealers Club in New York, to raise money. So to get in, you have to have an ID. So they usually put seller or visitor, which means a seller. They only let people in who are selling diamonds. So I come in. So first, everybody's walking up to me, ask me what I'm selling, and thinking that I got bargains. I said I'm selling Torah. But what was interesting was when I got there, all of a sudden I came to the place and I felt extremely comfortable. Well, I had never been to. What am I doing in the Borsa? When I came, it looked very familiar. Why? Because it looked just like a base medrash. They have long tables with good lights, and people are sitting on either sides of the table, haggling and arguing back and forth with each other.
Diamonds.
So it was exactly a base medrash because they're given masa matan, and the same word that we use for bargaining is the word we use for learning. The masa matan, the take and give of learning, is the same rule of business. Anyway, so that's a big deal. So they could all happen, and you have to be careful.
So he wrote this while she was still an age.
Oh, so now the answer is like this. So there's two stages of getting married. So when the person first gets married, before we call the consummation of marriage, so she's mutter to him from the Torah, and she's also. The only difference is like this: that if a person lives with if she's still a nar, she gets skila. But afterwards, after she has a chuppah, okay, then the punishment is cherek, is strangulation. It changes. Okay, so now but the answer like this we learn. So when a thing is going to happen later, the person is already, it's going to come into them. Then disclaiming your rights of something that you're going to come into works, especially if you're going to come into it midrabanan. Why is that? Why? Because he said, I'm with Rabbi Yanai. Masnisim, because you love the Rusha. Here's what's happening. He wrote the rights that I'm going to get to the usufruct when we consummate the marriage, when we do nisuin, I'm giving up now. I'm not going to take what comes. And that works. Once you have them, if you don't say I'm giving them away, it doesn't work. But before you get them, you can say I have no claims, and that does work. The weaker claim works before you come into possession of the rights. Because the Rav Kana, because Rav Kana said that is the big machlokas, this next part. But we'll learn one part. Nachla bolo la'adam imokamacher. We're going to learn here, there's a big question about the translation. We're going to learn when a person is about to get something, to come into possession, we call it inheritance. The person is going to take possession of something awarded to him by the rabbis. The person can make a condition and say, "What? You know what? I'm not going to come into possession. I don't want it." Okay, could the Rava, like Rava taught us, he says, "Call him right." Yeah, actually, we're talking about Sachamim. Anytime a person says, "Listen, I don't want the enactment of the rabbis that was made for my benefit. I don't want to take it. I have reasons why it's no good for me." It's like this. We'll see what that is in 1 second. Shomin, we listen. So over here, what happened? The guy gets rights. So the Yusufrak, he's gonna save her if she gets captive, etc. So he says, listen, so you can say, I don't want the deal. Micah Gonzos, well, what was the case that we were talking about? We said, what was the classic paradigm? Because Afuna Marav, he said, what? A woman can say, listen, we're going to say now, why does the husband have to feed his wife? It's a deal because he gets her income from her job. Let's say so. They want him to feed her. The rabbis want him to feed her because maybe she can't support herself. So he said, I could, but he says, okay, but at least then once he's supporting her, let him get her income because I was going to feel bad. I got to support you and I get no benefit from what you do. So therefore, it's a trade-off. He supports her and he gets her income. So the girl can say, she says, you know what? Don't feed me. I don't want the money. Many else said, I'm not working for you. That's all. I'm not letting you get my money. So anything where the rabbis are going to award something to somebody, the person can come before and disclaim or preclude coming into possession of those things. All right, now we have a big problem. We said that a man has no chazaka in the property of his wife. So if we see, for example, that he consumed the usufruct, even when he gave it up, or all these things about the usufruct of his wife for 3 years, it doesn't establish a status quo of possession. But if he actually brought a proof, for example, let's say he brought witnesses that said the woman sold it to him, or he brought a paper that his wife sold it to him. These missing mullet. Okay. So he said that would work. He says, he says, but Abakasha, why should even that work? Even that, I should automatically suspect that it was done under duress. Why? Because Nachas Ruch, okay, Tema let her say, Nachas Ruch Asisi. She'll claim it to listen. You know what? I was just being agreeable. I signed the paper. Even I did in front of witnesses. I was just being I was just trying to be nice to my husband. I never meant to really sell it. Milo Tanan, didn't we learn? For example, I'll show you a proof that a woman is able to say that she does everything, and it's a type of duress. Okay, you are. It's a type of duress because she says, listen, the fact that every woman naturally wants to do the will of her husband is a type of force. Okay, because we learned lokach menaish. Okay, let's say a person bought all the properties of a man. Now remember, the property of a man are all the properties that he has. When he gets married, they all they receive a lien to her ksuba. So everything that he sold, she has a right to claw back if he dies or divorces her to get back her ksuba. But then the guy who bought all the property of the man, he wants to make sure the woman's not going to claw it back from him. He goes and pays her a certain sum. He says, "Listen, I want to pay you, and that's it. We're quits. Okay, now, yeah." We're quits, okay? So that I'll pay you, and now you won't collect your ksuba from these lands. The answer is Mikho Bato. We said even so, even though the guy went back and bought it from the wife, the purchase from the wife is canceled. Okay, why is that? Alma, what's the reason? He says, Alma Nachas. She says even there, she did that just because she wanted to please her husband. Since her husband sold the land to this guy, and this guy wants the lands to be unencumbered, he goes back to the woman to buy it from her. She's really just backing up her husband who sold it to that guy. She's trying to make him happy. So since we see she has the right to say it, even though it's not absolutely honest, but it works. Even here, why do we accept witnesses or a paper saying that he bought the property and not just the use from the wife? Why do we believe him? And says Marley says 1 second. So you're making a mistake. He says that din that you brought me that said where the husband sold the land to somebody else, and that somebody else went back and bought it also from the wife, and we didn't ratify the sale. Amrabba Barhuni says, Lo Nitzucha, that case when we said what, that she's just doing it to please the husband, that's not by every sale. That's by 3 unique properties there and only there, because it's like, come on, it's not enough of a true force. There and only there, we say she did it just to please him. What are the okay? Why is that? Because those are ones where she really thinks it's ones where she specifically had aims to collect her ksuba from, and those ones she can say, I only let it go out under duress, but other properties not, and therefore you can generally bring a proof, like we said before. What are the 3 properties where we say, look, she can really just claim automatically it was a type of duress? One was where if he writes in the ksuba, this property is subjugated to pay your ksuba. Okay, and one a second one was where he says after they were married, not when he got married. He says, listen, he says in front of witnesses, he says, what? This is an apotike. Here you're going to collect. You're going to collect from this. When you'll collect your ksuba from this piece of property. And the other is where that a property that she brought in from the house of her father. And it's going to be what we call tzom barzel. Tzom barzel means that she brings it in at a price. Essentially, the husband buys it on the spot. It's his. He just guarantees it at a price. He says, "Listen, that property you bring in, I'm guaranteeing it $1,000, and therefore, when it's over, whether it goes up or down, it's mine." But what? But if we dissolve the marriage, I'll give you $1,000. I'll give you $1,000. So that one, if she brought in, so what happened was. So she brought in from the house of her father, and then they wrote down it's worth so much and so much, and that's so much. So they're also. So when did we say that she can say, "Listen, I only acquiesce to please my husband"? It's by the particular properties that she particularly, even though all the properties are subjugated, but these ones where she particularly sees that these ones were made for her to collect. Those ones in particular, we say what that she can say what I only did it to please my husband. But other properties, even though they do accept the lien, we still don't say that her sale was done under duress.
Bobby, you can use a phone and do stuff on. There are at least 30 davening online.
We can. Reuven, are you interested in doing the Magachia for a few days?
Well, it's 9 days. He can't always come. He can't make a commitment.
You can make a commitment.
What?
You can make this commitment for him.
No. If you need any transportation, I can provide it.
What? You'll do it?
What?
Give the daf. No, I said he can't. He doesn't know until the morning if he can come.
Okay. In general, if you need any transportation, you can always.
That's different. If you do want to come. So how's he going to let you know?
Just give me a call.
In the morning at the 6:45?
Yeah.
Okay. But usually, like, wives don't like that.
Well, there was a famous rabbi in Yerushalayim, his name was Hamburger. Hamburger. And when he was a kid, Hamburger. When he was
okay.
When he was a kid,
by saying about Mincha, there's going to be 2 million, one that's sick, and one that's this afternoon. Yeah. Quite correct. One at 6 and one regular.